We live in an age where those in power are openly using every weapon at their disposal to impose their will upon the future. Where the principles of authoritarianism and individualism stand in open conflict in the streets, in the courts, in the news, in everyday life. Where the choices we make and the choices that are made for us have consequences no one can foresee. You do not stand alone. You do not fight alone. You do not suffer alone. We are united. We resist. We are here with you. As long as there is a truth that remains hidden, as long as lies are spread openly, we will continue to speak out. We will continue to question. We will continue to be the united resistance.
What do you want to do now, Cap?
The same thing we always do. Fight them until we can't.
Oh, that is right, my friends. This is Supreme Heretic. Welcome to episode 6 of the United Resistance podcast. How goes it, my friends? It's good to see everybody. We've got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. Man, I am telling you, if we aren't living in the most interesting times, I don't know who is. Because I don't know. Does anybody feel like things have changed? There's a shift in the energy, and it's that difference that we made back in November, people, when we elected this new administration. We changed the course. I want you to understand. Just how much we did change the course, because right now, the New World Order, the globalist structure, all of it has major cracks, and they are crumbling. They are crumbling. Now, I don't know if you've seen the absolute nuclear meltdowns that the liberals are having. My God. You have Democrat senators, representatives going to government buildings trying to find Doge. Because how dare people expose corruption? It's unconstitutional, they say. They go and I mean, these people look like friggin' demons, you guys. They look like demons. And remember, on this program, we've always talked about the spiritual war. Well, the demons are unmasking themselves. They're coming out. When you look at these people, my God, face all red, fired up, they're looking crazy. All because their corruption is being exposed. And they can't close the Pandora's box now, because the spending is being shown in real time. Hail to Tehillim. Tehillim's in the house. What's going on? Parrot Head's here. What's up, buddy? Our friend Terminus Est is here. My good pal. Great to see you, Terminus. Hail to the Stream Elements bot for being in the chat. If you guys want to help, this is the way to do it. StreamElements.com. Just follow the link there and you can tip directly. All tips are appreciated, never required. Thank you so much, by the way, guys, for the help that you've given. It has indeed improved the situation to a large degree. So thank you again. But to get back to what we're talking about, yes, the Democrats are absolutely melting down. And that's because so many of them are into a large-scale corruption as Elon finds more and more reckless spending and waste with Doge. You know, you guys know that I'm a big-time advocate and everything for the homeless, especially homeless veterans, but the homeless in general, because I try to talk about and spotlight the housing crisis, especially since it's directly affected my family. And one of the things today that really set me off, and Elon confirmed this, $59 million was spent housing illegals in posh hotels. And we're talking $700 a night hotels. $59 million of your money. Those of you in the chat, all of us that are Americans, they took our taxpayer money and we're housing these people in luxury hotels. That's just the hotel rates. You know, it all confirms that what was coming out during the border crisis was true. They were being handed debit cards. Now we know via the U.S. aid money where it was going to NGOs and it would be funneled through the NGOs, handed out to the illegals, sometimes with duplicate social security numbers, multiple people running around using the same social security number, collecting EBT, collecting Medicaid, and also, oh, by the way, handed a debit card to do what they want with. And then on top of it, get to stay in a posh hotel. No, we don't care how long. You can just live there. Now, I take great offense to that because, number one, the various jobs I've had, I've been paying taxes since I was, 18 years old? Well, and they took Social Security and whatever else out, even at 16, 17 years old. So, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, Tehillim, the plight of your country, and if we focus out the lens a little bit on the UK in general, that's become a complete shit show. They've catered to the Muslim population there, and man, I feel sorry for like the people in Ireland, the people in Britain, the people in other places going through the same thing that we've gone through here in the US, or that was attempted on us. Now we're getting action on our border and things like that, but the folks in Britain, Australia, Canada, many of the other countries are not lucky because they have had their countries part and parcel handed over to the worst of the worst in third world immigration, thugs and criminals, and just it's become a very big risk of life to just even be a citizen there. And if you have light skin, forget it. You're on the list. And if you say something about it or take pride in your home country, you are branded the same as they were doing here and still do here. They call you a racist, they call you a Nazi, they call you every name in the book, simply for standing up for the country that you were born in. Having pride in your home, your surroundings, doesn't matter. Because this playbook, again, we've talked about the WEF, we talked about the New World Order, we talked about the plan. The replacement of each country's population is absolutely paramount to the success of the New World Order and their plan to just cull down the population, mass murder a bunch of people, and have their way with what they consider an easier, rulable class. Because you know what they do if they were successful. They'd kill off everybody, make everything a Muslim caliphate to appease them, and have those people at their heel. That's what they wanted. Thankfully, Trump won in our country. So now we have at least a little bit of a buffer against it. And I'm not just going to sit here and say, because I don't know all of his motives. I don't know all of Elon Musk's motives, but I know this. He's doing an honorable service to humanity by exposing the corruption. I will give him that. Hail to Dwayne Erickson. Hello, Dwayne. And blowing the lid off the USAID was a revelation. Because I think not only in the scheme of the U.S. taxpayers understanding finally that they've been robbed, bamboozled, and led astray for decades in some cases. A lot of people outside of the U.S. are watching what's happening, and they're starting to understand that they're also being swindled, taken advantage of, thieved off of with their own government stealing their money. And if you're a U.S. taxpayer, you should be mad. You should be absolutely livid. Now, I hope that there are honorable lawyers out there, and I hope, man, in the next year that the TV is inundated with commercials of call this 800 number if you would like to sue the government for your tax money. Because there needs to be a class action lawsuit on behalf of the U.S. taxpayers versus the federal government, and we need to be paid back. You want to talk about, we had for the radical left, the quote anti-racists, the black people with a problem, the minorities with a problem. They wanted to say we were all Nazis and everything else, and we heard the same dribble for 7, 8, 9 years. Well, you know what? They bitched and moaned about reparations. Well, where's our reparations for getting our tax money taken the hell away from us and not even knowing about it? Hell, we wouldn't even know about this if they didn't do this audit. We would have never have had it exposed. But I need to see action on this, and there needs to be some sort of reparation put to the U.S. taxpayer. Because I'll tell you what, a lot of people feel like we're back on what we fought the Civil War for. And that was against no taxation without representation. Remember, what do we have the Boston Tea Party for? Well, there's plenty of taxation without representation, and these people need to get off their goddamn asses and do something about it. Because I'll tell you what, that money I made last year off 1099 work, I sure as hell am not in a hurry to go and claim that on my taxes. I'm sure as hell not in a hurry to pay the government any tax. I'll claim my W-2s, but I really, really am thinking seriously about not claiming my 1099 work at all. Because where's the incentive? What am I getting out of that? And I understand, yes, there's a new administration in there, and yes, they're looking at this, but it doesn't make me feel any better. What am I supposed to do? What's my incentive to ever pay a dime in tax again? And I'm not the only American that feels like this. I guarantee I'm not. Go on X and see how people are reacting. Because there's new revelations coming out every day. Then you got these Democrat assholes going to these buildings, carrying on. Oh, it's unconstitutional. And oh, how dare you take these organizations and just dissolve them. Hell yes, dissolve them. You're taking our hard-earned money, laundering it, giving it to God knows what country for nefarious reasons, trying to change their governments, their gender ideologies. And let's not get it twisted here, because a lot of that USAID money, it says it's going for whatever, Sesame Street in Iraq. Bullshit. You know what the hell it's going for? It's going for regime changes. It's going for CIA dark ops. It's going for stuff that we never agreed to pay for. And it's all mixed in. And whether it's for, I don't know, trans whatever in Tanzania, I could give two shits. The point is, I didn't sign up for you to spend my tax money that way. If I'm an American taxpayer, I want my tax money going into either the military, fixing the damn roads, or else taking care of the rampant homeless problem around our country. And oh, by the way, I sure as hell wouldn't mind it going towards taking care of the veterans and fixing the damn VA. It's a crying shame. And I certainly hope like hell that a lawyer or group of lawyers takes on a class action lawsuit against the government. They grow some balls and they get the American people a good portion of that money back. Because even the Trump administration, much as I am rallying behind them, I hope to hell they get accomplished everything that we tasked them with doing. I'm not holding my breath that they're going to sit there and pay back all the money that was taken from all of us. They might use it for the right things now, but they're not going to pay us back. And I'm hoping that some lawyer somewhere pull a class action suit because, frankly, at the minimum, every American taxpayer needs at least a $250,000 check in their pocket for damages. That's all I'm saying. But back to what's happening. Not many of us cared, but many of us watched the Super Bowl. It was boring. Eagles won, of course. Didn't much help me. I didn't care one way or the other. Halftime show sucked if you missed it. But there's a few things that stand out. Commercials were a little more patriotic. People seem to be moving in that direction again. I don't know if it's going to have a residual on Hollywood per se, but at least the companies maybe are moving in that direction. So we'll see if that has any change. And by the way, I'm waiting to see what happens with my company because I work for one of the most woke companies on the woke company scale. I do. I hate to say it. Is it my favorite thing to admit that? No, but I need the paycheck, guys. But honestly, we'll see what happens. It seems like there's a bit of a cultural shift going back the other way. Hail to Philip Gaming, by the way. Great to see you, buddy. He said, but we need transgender surgeries for Guatemalans. Yeah, dude. I mean, 20 billion dollars for Sesame Street and Iraq, really? Do we really need to do that? And why are we meddling in these other countries' cultures? Why are we trying to turn their kids into trannies? You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. Our reputation, the past 20, 30 years, you know, as patriotic Americans, we love our country. Don't get me wrong. But our reputation, if you look at it from the 10,000-foot view from the world stage, all we look like is a bunch of interlopers heading into different countries whenever we please, changing their leadership because, oh, by the way, a lot of these CIA dark ops were to take out leaders of different countries, install leaders sympathetic to the U.S., reap the benefits, take their resources, and call it a day. I'm not saying that the nations of the world are saints because they're not. This has been decades upon decades upon decades. Different countries' intelligence services are mixed up in the worst of the worst shit in the guise of furthering their country's interests. Everything from assassinations to regime change to you name it. Soft coups, color revolutions, the whole 9 yards. They all do it. The US does it, Russia does it, Britain does it, all the major players. Does it make it right? Absolutely not. As taxpayers, do we want our money going to that type of crap? No, we don't. But they do it. But what's worse is when things are co-opted by the banking cartels, the globalists, the depopulationists, and they try to take the earth on a global death ride so that they can cull the planet and rule it their way. That don't fly with me neither. Oh, Tehillim, let's be real. All right. This has been going on since Kennedy got taken out. I can tell you why. The people that used to be Kennedy Democrats are today's Republicans. That tells you how the Democrat Party got so co-opted into communism. They're commies. Every last one of them. Remember that one image that I share on my Twitter, guys? Remember that one banner that I have that says, "Kill them all, let God sort them out"? Yeah, I felt like that a lot of times. Because that's what they turned into, man. They're nuts. They're nuts. They're anti-freedom. They're anti-God. They are anti-living right. And that's exactly what the globalist, depopulationist death cult wanted. They used the Democrat Party here on U.S. soil as their vehicle, had a soft infiltration in the Republican Party, just enough to keep everything going. Yeah, nice uniparty grip going on. And then the MAGA movement came along, and that changed the game. So props to Trump, props to Elon. So far, President Trump is off to a very successful first 100 days. I mean, the guy has been at it fast and furious. I expect more executive orders coming very soon, as early as tomorrow. Tulsi Gabbard should be confirmed very soon, the next couple days. RFK Jr. I think we're going to have a fight on our hands with him, but he should be confirmed. And I think Kash Patel will be confirmed as the next director of the FBI. And based on what they're finding with the FBI, which, oh, by the way, is informing and leaking operational security details to the migrant gangs so that they can avoid being caught by ICE, they need a full-on house cleaning. So Kash Patel better get in there and clean house. And I can't wait for the names to start coming out of the politicians that are involved knowingly in using the U.S. aid slush fund. And, oh, by the way, there's talk floating around that Elon is in contact with Ron Paul to let him spearhead an audit of the Federal Reserve, which will be a game changer, because if they put Ron Paul in charge of the Federal Reserve, it'll be for the same reason that they put Linda McMahon in charge of the Department of Education. And that is to close it once and for all. And if they get rid of the Fed, oh, praise Jesus. We will be living in a golden age, my friends, because we are going to go to a gold-backed currency. I really do believe that. I think interesting theory that I have. I think if and when that day comes, we may see Elon and Trump have a little bit of a less cohesive relationship, because I think Elon might be on the side of a CBDC, and I think Trump is more old school in the sense of setting up a gold-backed U.S. currency, which I am also in that camp. No CBDCs. Give me a gold-backed currency. Some interesting executive orders came out. We got rid of the penny. So any of you collectors out there, grab a few pennies and hold on to them. They might be worth something. At least you'll have 4 years of no pennies. We have enough pennies, by the way, floating around in the economy. It's not like we're going to have a penny shortage, but I understand where that logic comes in, because the coin is worth 1 cent and costs 2 to 3 cents to make. So that right there is, I think, a net gain. I'm interested to see how far the rabbit hole goes on a lot of this stuff. Apparently, some more unclassified Kennedy documents have hit the web, from what I understand. So I have not seen any of those yet, because that doesn't seem to be popping up. But there was a few tweets about it that a fresh batch had just come out. So we'll see what comes of those. As more and more departments follow suit on the executive orders. Man, I don't know that I've ever seen a presidency start in such a whirlwind. I don't know that I've ever seen that. This is unprecedented since day one. I mean, just looking back so far, we had action on the border within 24 hours. Yeah, that's crazy. And by the way, we may see some reform in FEMA. The DHS secretary, the Secretary of Transportation, even the new head of the EPA, they were all between North Carolina, California, and also, not to toot my own horn, and rest in peace, Will. If you remember me and Will's investigation a couple years ago into East Palestine, it appears that the government is actually helping the residents of East Palestine and keeping a long-awaited promise to them, courtesy of J.D. Vance, who was just there a couple days ago on a 2-year anniversary of the derailment, and President Trump following suit with FEMA. But I don't think we're going to see FEMA too much longer. There's going to be some massive reform, and FEMA may go the way of the dinosaur, and they might start a different emergency management initiative from the ground up, which probably at this point, because Elon showed with FEMA, there was a ton of corruption as well and selective help when that shouldn't have even been a question. So, in my estimation, they need to just do away with FEMA altogether, start fresh with a new agency. Terminus S says Drew should start his own department called DONG, Dong. Department of, well, I'll leave it up to you to figure out the rest. Nice, Terminus. Hey, listen, all I can say is the new lady in my life, she certainly doesn't complain. I lay it down, Daddy. So that's an interesting question, Tehillim. Now, we haven't talked about Gaza. I am of fair and balanced thinking in the whole conflict. You know, I have a lot of Jewish friends, and I am proud to say that I do respect the Jewish people, those hardworking, everyday Jewish people. I respect them. Fortunately, there are many that sully the good reputation. And with Gaza, I do expect that they're going to, I would like to see the U.S. go in there and redevelop and rebuild it and create housing for all the residents that live there, but I don't think that that's possible. You need to take the militant element out. I want to bring in our buddy Wes. Wes Moody's here. Make sure that you check Wes out on Rumble, follow his channel, and support him the way you support me. But you guys always do. You guys always do. Hail to Marby Dog, by the way. He says Gaza is doomed. Tehillim says the information on the Gaza situation feels a bit like muddy water. Parrot Head, hail to you. And yes, Master TDS and Writing Raven are cool people. Yes, they are. You know, you have to take into consideration, and Wes, I'm going to let you chime in on the Gaza situation in a second. The fact that there is a large segment, and it's not just, you know, we have to be careful about how we pinpoint it, because it's not just there's bad apples of every bunch. And the banking clan, the Rothschild money and everything, it's run by corrupt Jewish people. And these are people that do not represent the best interest of Jewish people. They are just bad people. But those people are despicable. They give the good Jewish people a bad name. They do. And unfortunately, a lot of the World Economic Forum types in that are taking their marching orders directly from the banking clan families. That's how that whole thing was established. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Gaza. I am a little apprehensive about that. Wes, take it away, sir. Can't hear you, buddy. Need your mic up here.
Welcome, my friends.
There we go.
Good to see everybody. The best chat on YouTube. It's good to be here. Okay, well, that would explain why you didn't hear me. Okay, so we're talking about Gaza. All right. I thought his solution was a way out of the box solution. And it's interesting because it kind of takes the edge off a little bit, because now if Israel attacks Gaza, they're going to be attacking America. And for the Gazans, now essentially it sounds like what we're going to allow is some sort of home rule for them. So the controversy seems to be about removing the Gaza, the Gazans, the Palestinians, and there seems to be concern that that's going to be done with force. And I do not believe that is Trump's intention here. I think what he's going to probably do is offer them some sort of cash incentive to relocate. Or what he's doing is negotiating with the different Arab states, and he's like, hey, take these people. And if they don't want to take them, he's going to raise the money. I think the figure that he put out there was $500 billion. And I think with the $500 billion, he would rebuild Gaza with that money. It's actually a brilliant gambit. There is no, losing angle here if that is the approach that he's taking. And so it's either going to be pay the Palestinians and find them a different place to live for the ones that want to leave, and many probably will, or to use the $500 billion and give the Palestinians jobs and not occupy them and just eliminate the terror situation by giving them jobs and employment and rebuilding the Gaza Strip, which I think is actually pretty brilliant. So we'll see how it plays out. He did mention that, if things deteriorate or if there's an attack from the Gaza Strip onto Israel, that he would kind of wash his hands of the situation and I guess give it back. He was hinting at that, I thought, on Air Force One. So it was an interesting situation on how to do that. I don't know that I like the idea of us being there, because if it could be a deterrence for the Arab states attacking Israel to have that be United States territory, because if they light off a nuke, obviously Israel's not very big. That would be nuking us too, and that would be a bad situation. It's actually so far out of the box, I had to really think about it for a long time.
It's really far out of the box. I thought about it from the development aspect. I was kind of kicking this around in my head today. What if they actually sat there with Gaza and turned it into almost another Dubai? And
seems to be what they're attending.
Had the profits, except the caveat to it is a lot of the profits from that construction project plus the residuals come back to America. That now I would be interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really trust Bibi. I don't like Bibi at all, and Bibi looked a little too happy when that deal was announced. So I don't know. He's a pretty crafty dude, Netanyahu. I wouldn't really trust him very far. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Trump's a deal maker. He wants win-wins. He wants both, a win for both sides. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I trust his instincts, but we'll be monitoring the situation. It couldn't really be too much worse than it is now. But if we end up with a situation where the critics, and rightfully so, are fearing there's going to be an American occupation of the Gaza Strip, I'm totally against that, and I think that would be a terrible idea. But that doesn't seem to be what he's intending. It seems to be what he's intending is to find them a different place in either Jordan or Saudi Arabia, and incentivize them by giving them a cash payment to settle in these new places. So,
Marby
you
Dog
know,
apparently has a question for us.
yes. Marby Dog says, I'm sorry, did you just say involving ourselves in Gaza is a no-lose proposition? No, that is not what I said. I said that the way that Trump is involving himself is a no-lose proposition compared to how else we could have done it. Under this situation, because if it doesn't work out, I think he mentioned that he was going to give the Gaza Strip back to Israel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leery. I'm leery about that. I really am. I'm not so positive it's a great idea, but I see the possible gains and advantages for the United States of America, which is the construction and development and the residuals that come off of it.
Yeah. I'm more
So,
worried about what's going to happen after he leaves office. That would scare me.
you know, in that interview with Brett Baer on what you just mentioned, Wes, they asked him if J.D. Vance was a successor. He would not commit to that at this time, but he did say Vance is doing great. He's a brilliant guy, and Trump was exactly right not to commit to that. I mean, it'd be wild to say, oh, yeah, that's my successor. No. If you asked a man in his heart of hearts who his successor is, Trump's looking directly at Barron as a successor. I mean, let's not get that twisted. But as far as J.D. Vance being the next qualified guy up, yes, he absolutely is, or he wouldn't be the vice president. But
Well, he's already an upgrade over Pence.
But Trump's not going to endorse him because he knows how he got backstabbed by Pence. So he's not going to endorse him right out of the chute, and not right now. So you can't blame him. I mean, the administration is not even 100 days old yet.
No, it's not even 30 days old.
Yeah. So I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, what were you talking about before we got on Gaza? Maybe I could do a quick give some thoughts real fast.
We were talking about. I was talking about Wes, the Doge audit, and just the fact that it has inspired so many meltdowns. I mean, these people are in full on 5-alarm panic mode, going to all these buildings, shuffling over, protesting in front of the buildings, calling for violence in the streets. They are just absolutely beside themselves because Elon's going through and finding all this corruption, all this corruption, all this corruption. And, they are hopping mad about it because the whole lot of them are guilty as sin. And then we also covered the effect on the Republican side. I think a lot of the Republicans are falling in line because many of them are guilty as sin.
Mitch McConnell, Cocaine Mitch.
So, yeah. And then
I've got. Oh, go ahead.
And I talked about the Gabbard vote coming up in a day or so, the Kash Patel vote, and the RFK vote. And I do think there's going to be a fight on RFK. I think Gabbard and Kash get through.
Interesting. See, I thought there was going to be more of a fight on Kash, but we'll see. So yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts on Doge and all that stuff. Boy, okay. First of all,
well, you take the floor, sir. Go right ahead.
Okay, you mentioned.
I want to hear you rant.
Yeah, you mentioned the protests and all the congressmen and congresspeople going out there, the crooked ones, by the way. And I think it's really backfired on them because without, their minions and their astroturf, they look stupid. And here's what some of my former lefty friends, it's red pilling like the most hardcore TDS havers right now that aren't paid shills. Because at this point, it's like, wait a second, this is the hill you want to die on, and as specific. I saw a former congressman on Twitter, a Democratic congressman on Twitter, talking about this, and then Jon Stewart talked about it. He's like, wait, this is the hill you want to die on. They're finding stuff, and you want to stop them from finding stuff. That's the hill you want to die on. You were there for all this time, and now just a glimpse at it shows this massive corruption. 99, it was like 9 cents on the dollar was getting where it needed to go. We cut 97% of the staff was all waste, and it was all being funneled through these different things. And then it confirmed a lot of what we had suspected and what's been covered in the past about Operation Signature Reduction, the keyboard warriors, the paid keyboard warriors. That's part of it. And then these NGOs, the money been being funneled out there, basically used to weaponize and go against John Q. Public, your average American, and go after us. I've been on the receiving end of these paid people. There is this gentleman, Thomas Dodson, that actually I want to make a video on that guy because I believe that confirms my suspicions. That I had a hate mob sicked on me, and it all tied to this guy. And he's a very interesting character. Claimed to be a social media anti-bullying, cyberbullying expert and consultant. And he was always on all the local news shows, and, always looked like he was living this lavish lifestyle. And, you do just a cursory spot check of him. He has less subscribers on YouTube than I've got. It's like, how is this guy consulting with people when he has less subscribers than I have? It's like, how does this guy make his money? And, and then, you dig deeper into it, and there are connections with him and some of the homeless groups that we had. And, you just keep peeling it back, and he, some of the interviews he did on our local news, he was talking about, I got this job because of my connections. Well, guess what he did before he did that? He was in Central America working with children. So that's a bit of a red flag. What connections were those, buddy? What were you connected with? What were you doing down there? How would that lead to this? And so I did more digging on this gentleman. And one of the other services that he offered, Drew, do you want to guess what it is? And he offered it on the local news. I'm going to clip it. Here's the service he offered. He said that your teenagers are sexting one another, and if you don't want to see the sexting, you can subscribe to his service so that he can check in and view the sexting and inform the parents about it. Isn't that disgusting? And some people actually paid this guy to spy on their teenagers and their sexting. Teenagers, underage people sending nude pictures. He offered this as a service, and it was on the news.
God.
Isn't that wild?
Gross. How gross.
Yeah. So this guy and then I did more spot checks. He tried to do a Jesse Jackson style shakedown using me as the example of why they needed to pay him like $50,000. And I contacted my old company and I said, hey, what's going on here? And I blew the whistle on that guy, and guess what happened?
Well, let me guess. They went at you.
No, my company did not pay him. And then I started inquiring to him about this stuff, and he fucking hightailed it out of town in a month and a half.
Oh,
he's
boy.
in Tennessee now.
Ooh,
And what he's doing now is he's still doing this cyber consulting stuff, but he works with a lot of Hollywood people, and it's interesting. None of it adds up. Like, how does this guy make his money? How does this guy make his money? It's impossible to see, because with the clients that he has and the type of consulting that he was doing. I'll give a specific example, his consulting services. When he was on the news, he was talking about a mom baking cookies and that he would charge for a consulting fee for moms with a homemade cookie business. What the fuck? You're not going to make enough money to live in a $600,000 house and dine out every day on that.
No. Mm-mm.
So none of it adds up, but all this stuff is coming out with Doge. It's all coming out. The way the money's funneled, the AstroTurf paid woke, and it was all this ginormous propaganda. Basically, the kind of stuff that we used to do in other countries. They turned it inward, and I believe they tried to instill and translate fomenting sectarian violence in the Middle East to this woke stuff. And fomenting our version of sectarian violence here,
when it's all said and done, Wes, I think we are going to see one of the highest crimes in American history, if not the highest crime in American history, because I think when they get the entire butcher's bill, it's going to be in the quadrillions.
Oh, it's going to be massive. It's going to
literally
be
in the quadrillions, dude.
They're going to find all the money. Trump is not just talking about cutting the spending. He's talking about going after them and clawing back the money, which should be very interesting to watch. Get your popcorn out for that. So it's the chat is awfully quiet here. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Here's what my suspicion is going to be. When this whole thing is blown wide open and we find out about the pizza folks and how it ties into this stuff, and then the drug running, and then the propaganda machine, because it's all one criminal syndicate. Once those people that and this drove a wedge between family members, friends, all that stuff. I lost friends over this stuff, and I know that you did too.
Mm-hmm.
And people in our chat did, because that whole Nazi racist, narrative that they were throwing out there, which was untrue. And we were unable to get our word out because we were censored. All that stuff's going to come out. And you're already starting to see some people on the left get like they're now starting to realize that they were wrong and that they'd been propagandized and that they fell for the propaganda. I know I'm starting to see people that are really, really, really just like disillusioned and heartbroken and depressed finding out what they did.
Hey, Wes, don't forget when we were told this.
I don't want to hear any more of these lies about reckless spending. We're changing people's lives.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Yep. So I think what you're seeing is you're going to now that the censorship is gone and we're getting our word out there, you're going to start seeing, I think it's just going to be like when General Eisenhower at the end of World War II marched the German civilians into the concentration camps and said, look what your people have been doing. That's the reaction you're going to get from people. They're going to be that shocked and that heartbroken that they participated in this.
You know what's funny about these meltdowns, Wes? I mean, my goodness, these people, I said this earlier, these people are starting to look like demons, man. Look at this shit. This comes from Nick Sortor on X. He's a good follow, by the way, another independent journalist. Really like the guy's stuff. I retweet a fair amount of his stuff. I want you guys to see this because this was an interesting tweet that he put out earlier today. So you just pull this up and share this really quick. Let's take a look at this. We'll set it full screen here for you.
She's got to go get in her big black taxpayer-funded SUV.
Oh, yeah, that's what happens when you're a member of Congress.
No, that's what happens when you don't have transparency in the government. Why do you deserve a big black taxpayer-funded SUV? Is that why against Doge? Is that what the problem is? What's up with the lack of transparency in your? What's the problem with transparency? Who the fuck are you? Why are you pushing?
They're literally assaulting the man.
What is the problem with Doge? What is the problem with? She's got to go get in her big black taxpayer-funded SUV.
Oh, yeah, that's what happens when you're a member of Congress.
That's what happens when you don't have transparency in the government. Why do you deserve a big black?
Okay. But they sat there and actually assaulted the man.
Yeah, you'd think it would be a simple question to answer, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Isn't it a simple question to answer?
Yeah, they assaulted the guy. I mean, they tried, they basically knocked the phone out of his hand and everything. Assaulted the man. I'm like, my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is what they're doing, Wes. It's crazy.
So I have a theory, and I'm not sure if you saw it on my Twitter or not. My theory is this: that those pardons that Biden did on the way out made a lot of people mad, and that they were escaping justice. Now, part of a pardon is it's legal forgiveness, and by accepting the pardon, you're accepting essentially the forgiveness. And so, it's interesting because Trump is an out-of-the-box thinker, and I couldn't help but note when he signed that deal with El Salvador for the prison and was talking about housing American citizens, I was like, what's going on here? This is very interesting. And so they're talking about the legality of it, but it's pretty simple. It's pretty easy to make it legal. You just make it a consulate that makes it U.S. territory. You have a State Department official there. And you make sure that wing of the prison conforms to, our basic standards of a federal penitentiary. That's it. That's all you got to do. And that makes it legal because it's U.S. territory. Boom, done. But I have another proposal here, another thought on the matter, and that is that if Fauci, so he made this deal with El Salvador. It's like, that's interesting. It's really interesting. So you've got Fauci. Now he's been pardoned, but his crimes, if it's tied to him, go global. So theoretically, you could have El Salvador indict him, and we could extradite Fauci to El Salvador for trial. The pardon don't mean shit down there. And also, another thing that I was like, this is interesting, when he designated the cartels as terrorist groups. Well, now that money flow from the cartels, that's receiving money from a terrorist organization. So if that money got somewhere else, I mean, it's actually very clever the way he's doing it. He seems to be using the anti-terror laws, maybe if not to go after them, to get leverage to get these people to talk. The others that we can go after. It's actually pretty brilliant. Hey, Rita.
Hey, Rita. Good to see you. The Small Time Republic's in the house. Hail to Small Time. What's up, buddy? I wanted to say this, Wes. This is breaking, by the way. The Tulsi passed the procedural vote on her confirmation, setting the stage for an official confirmation by the Senate.
Okay. All right.
So they invoked what's called cloture on her.
Cloture.
And
yes.
Cloture, and they're activating her confirmation vote.
I want to know what they have. That is very good news. Wow. I want to know what they have on Schumer. I want to know what it seems like something is going on with Schumer. Maybe there's aside from making raw burgers, that was weird.
Man,
out of touch.
I'll tell you what, they're It's just funny how Trump just makes them look like idiots, though. Like, and they were talking about this the other day. I had Fox News on for a minute, but they made a great point. It was they were talking about the fact, like, on just common sense issues, and even like some of these weird issues, like 80-20 stuff. He's making the Democrats take the 20% side, so they just look like absolute tools every time. They embarrass themselves more and more the more they open their mouths, and he just makes them look stupid. It's like he is just,
That's it is
head and shoulders above. Yeah.
That's brilliant. And then look at that judge that struck that down with the Treasury Department and not allowing Bessent to look into the books. It's like, huh?
And they're finding that judge, by the way, is a Soros funded judge.
Of course she is. I bet you if you look into her family, you'll find even more connections. If you look into her family, you'll probably find all kinds of stuff. But here's the thing. So now you have corrupt judges, and that for 2026, that gives Trump the case for a 2/3 majority in both houses, because you need that to impeach these judges and convict them. So you handed him another gift. Now he can make that case. He's like, it's worse than I thought, folks. You ain't seen nothing yet. Look how much money we saved. And, with all that, look at all the fraud and corruption I found and the people that tried to stop it. I need a 2/3 majority in the Senate to convict these crooked judges and get them out of there. And I think if things continue as they are, he's going to get it.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope with these ICE raids getting leaked and everything, I'm hoping that Kash Patel gets his confirmation soon, because the FBI needs a good house cleaning. I said that earlier as well.
Yeah, it does. Well, here's the other thing. I'm looking forward to the radical transparency. And he's talking about, Trump is talking about putting Ron Paul as the head of the Fed, which would be like, how much more winning do you need?
We talked about the Doge audit, and Elon was already talking to Ron Paul about spearheading that Doge audit of the Federal Reserve. And then there was somebody else that suggested on Twitter that said, well, just put Ron Paul in charge of the Fed. And Elon said, yeah, great idea.
Well, I mean, and again, as far as the out of the box thinking is concerned, I mean, here's another one for you. Trump was talking about paying off debt and balancing the budget, and people are like, whoa, with the $2 trillion deficit? Well, they're already cutting stuff out of the budget. But remember when he did that executive order to create a sovereign wealth fund?
Mm-hmm.
He could conceivably, using the anti-terror laws, seize BlackRock and put it in that sovereign wealth fund.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and theoretically.
I do believe that they're generating $2 trillion in revenue a year. You don't have to use all of it for deficit reduction. But you could, if you used 1 trillion of it, that could go towards deficit reduction.
That would be interesting. Really fuck over the globalists.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's not the gambit.
Just drain the shit out of BlackRock. I would not cry crocodile tears about that one.
Mm-mm. So it's interesting. He's doing all this really crazy out of the box stuff, and I love it. I'm like, wow, this makes sense. He's actually more like businessman Trump as Trump 2.0 than he was as Trump 1.0.
Well, I think you can do that when you actually go in with people that, you have lined up that can do the jobs. He had to take a lot of establishment Washington the first time. He didn't have to do that this time around.
Yep.
All right. Rita has some questions. So I'll let you take these, Wes, because
All right. So Rita asks, is Cash going to get in? And do you think Ron Paul will be able to get that place? Meaning the Fed. He has been trying to for a long time. Cash is going to be tough. My expectation is that you'll probably see there's probably a deal that will be cut that the people that vote for Cash, he's not going to go after them. And because you have to cut those kinds of deals to make that happen. I mean, he took Lindsey Graham to the Super Bowl. What does that tell you? I mean, he's really kissing that guy's ass, Lindsey Graham. And apparently North Carolina, I think is it North Carolina or South Carolina? Well, whichever Carolina he's from has a primary process that makes it difficult to primary Lindsey Graham, unfortunately. So he's kissing Lindsey Graham's ass. I think if he cut those kinds of deals and gets those people to cooperate, he could probably squeak Cash through with 50 votes plus JD Vance tie-breaking. So I do think it's possible. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if all three of those Tulsi, RFK Jr., and Cash Patel all get confirmed the same way Hegseth did with 50 votes plus the vice president. That's actually what I'm expecting. They took Fetterman to the woodshed, so Fetterman's not going to be voting for any of the Trump nominees anymore, I don't think. Even though, yeah, I mean, he voted for Bondi, but it seems like RFK would be a no-brainer. You know, it seems like even he was invited when the Democrats were running the Senate, was he not, to testify on vaccines? Pretty sure he was. And now those people that invited him seem to, be running for cover. I mean, how do you justify that? This is what we're talking about when Drew and I were talking about, them exposing themselves. You have Bernie exposing himself. I mean, it's not just Doge. I mean, they've been exposed. RFK exposed them both, Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, for taking that money. And then they exposed themselves by going full in against Trump, against Doge and against RFK getting in there. Well, this is the stuff they've been running on. This is the stuff they've been raising money on. And now, the grassroots people are like, what? That's red pill, and massive people are like, what? Wait a second. We thought you were the good guys. And now you have somebody that used to be a Democrat, one of the most prominent Democratic families, son of a former senator, presidential candidate, and the nephew of JFK. And you don't want this guy confirmed? I mean, they even pulled out Caroline Kennedy, JFK's daughter. Her face was melting. That was very disturbing. But they even pulled her out to give all these salacious, disgusting details. So it's wild. It's wild what's happening. Hail, awesome one! Welcome, my friend. Yeah, it is in the forest.
Yeah. So, sorry about that. I had to step away for a minute there, but
Right.
yeah, the thing that I was talking about earlier, Wes, was the fact that I was really ticked off about the latest Doge finding about the 59 million that was confirmed from FEMA to these NGOs and illegals. And we were talking a little bit about I've been talking about the housing crisis lately, and it's just the thing is the problem I have with that is you have regular everyday Americans struggling. You have a whole class of working poor that are either in transitional housing, homeless, whatever, barely working a job, have no vehicle, whatever their circumstances is, and they're out there struggling, not to mention the homeless veterans. And then you turn around and you see these people in $700 a night hotels with debit cards loaded to the gills, EBT, Medicaid, the whole 9 yards. Meanwhile, someone in the position that I was in just a month or two ago, calling 211, where these supposed charity organizations, which, let's not get it twisted, folks, I told you they're all in cahoots. They are all in cahoots with this. Catholic Charities, United Way, you name it, across the board. They are all guilty of it because they were funneling it. They were getting it from that USAID, turning around, funneling it in conjunction with the UN back to the illegals. And meanwhile, we are made to suffer.
Correct me if I'm
And
wrong, but I do believe that the door was opened through George W. Bush's faith-based initiatives
it
to
was.
fund these people.
It
Oh,
was.
that's not the end of it. They found more stuff that came from the IMF, where Pakistan owned this hotel, and they paid Pakistan $290 million to house illegals in there for a 3-year period.
They-
290 million, and that was from the IMF in New York.
Oh man, there's some really decent Indian folks that I know. I have an Indian doctor, matter of fact. But look, I'm going to tell you just locally here, there's a whole family, I call it a family cartel of Jeets that own these hotels that sit there and just absolutely rake in the cash and turn around and launder it. It is just ridiculous, and they charge exorbitant rates and everything else. Thank God I'm staying in a place where that is not one of those hotels, but man, I stayed in a couple of those in my travels so far and in trying to rebuild. And let me tell you, it's not easy dealing with those people. They do not care. It is, they have zero compassion. So, I have no love lost for a lot of these migrants that got preferential treatment over everyday Americans. I don't. I have no love lost, and I am glad that they are taking the initiative to get the riffraff out,
Well,
for
they're
lack of a
pawns.
better term.
I mean, they're pawns, and of course, if you come from a country like that, look, I feel bad that they come from a country where there's extreme poverty like that. I really do. My heart goes out to them for that plight. But we're in America, and we've got processes and procedures for coming here. And our
Mhm.
government, we're supposed to be taking care of our citizens first.
That's
And
right.
when people see that stuff, again, part of that is to get their voters in here, and then part of that also is the psyop. It's part of the creating the sectarian violence that I was talking about earlier, the propaganda, to get people at
Mhm.
each other's throats and to foment types of resentments that. But you know what? Most people aren't taking the bait, to their credit, as far as the race baiting stuff is.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, big shout out to the lovely lady in my life. Her and I were having a conversation just a little while ago, and she said, I'm so over this race baiting crap. It's like that's all it ever is out of their mouth. They just continue to push the race card. And I said, well, it's been a strategy, honey. It's a strategy, and that's what it's been. It's been an ongoing strategy ever since Obama, did the whole organizing thing and changed around politics and made it, quote, societally cool to be, the identity politics game. And they introduced that. That's what turned politics on its head. That's when you saw the deep infiltration come to the surface of the Democrat Party, and you saw it. It started to rear its head back in the Clinton era, and really finished. You saw the unveiled finished product in the Obama era, and that is where identity politics came to the fore, and we lost the plot politically. And it just goes to show, for decades, the Republicans, up until we had an actual populist movement in MAGA, were just literally controlled opposition. Spineless creatures collecting a paycheck, going along to get their share of the millions in the till.
Yep.
It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, that's one of the biggest revelations, is that people are like, why can't you fix this? Oh, it's complicated. Oh, we can't do it. Oh, it'll hurt these people. Oh, it'll hurt those people. And Trump getting in there, and just these first 2 weeks, it's like doing it. It's like, wait a second, you guys could have been doing this the whole time?
Yeah, Rita's been right. It's been going on for decades. This goes back to the whole where we tie in the declassification of the JFK files, the RFK files, the death of Martin Luther King. This is why. It was all to grease the wheels for this type of system. And it's been a revelation seeing the butcher's bill come out for all of this. And I said this before, Wes, because I got really damn hot over this. The shit is not right for Americans to be out there struggling like this. And the other side of it is, as taxpayers, I don't care what you're making salary a year, the taxpayers need to be compensated. We want to bitch about reparations. The reparations need to come to us as taxpayers.
I think I need reparations for being a victim of their paid operatives attacking me and harassing me.
Yes.
And going after my clients and
yes.
All of that stuff, because it really happened, folks. Now that the fog is clearing and the smoke is clearing, this we were trying to tell our friends and family members about this stuff, and we lost some of them, or there was friction, or they didn't believe us. There's no doubt now. Now the censorship is gone. There's no doubt. And this really happened. It really happened. We got censored. People got persecuted. They got sent to jail. The legal system was weaponized. They tried to kill Donald Trump twice that we know about. This all really happened. This shit really happened.
Oh, man. I gotta laugh. Production, I've got the virtual background, guys, so you can't see anything, but it was funny because the missus got up to get a drink, and she was coming back trying to not be in the way of the camera, so she's all crawling back to the bed not to be seen.
Oh, what? Hold on. Can I do that? No, I can't. That doesn't look good. Yeah, we'll stop that.
But no, Wes, we're getting to the territory where, the way this stuff's adding up, by rights, every American taxpayer may be owed $1 million.
I don't know about.
At the very minimum, 250 grand. You could make the case, if there was really an ethical lawyer out there, you could have a hell of a class action lawsuit on your hands right now. The American citizens versus the United States government.
Well, and we haven't even gotten into the COVID, the jab excess deaths yet. What about those people? People are still dying suddenly, My brother had an attorney, and he just got a letter. That woman was our age, Drew, and she just
Mhm.
dropped dead. She dropped dead.
Yeah. I mean, you've had people with medicines forced on them, with, every ungodly thing you can imagine, not to even mention the poverty struggle, the class struggle, the whole 9 yards of what some people are going through. It's just ridiculous.
And those 87,000 IRS agents, they were going to go after the big shots. They were going to go after you and me. They were going to go
Yes.
after our PayPals.
And now
They're
they're
going
going
after
to be
our
going
Venmos.
after the illegals at the border because Trump reassigned them all.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd assign. Well, I mean, I don't know. One of those girls looked like a pretty big girl. Maybe she could sit on some people.
Yeah. Well, she can keep a couple people from running away. Oh man. It'd be like that 500 half a ton lady that sued the Lyft for not being able to hold her fat body.
Oh man, yeah, that's ridiculous. That stuff's going bye-bye. If she goes and does a civil trial, nobody's gonna give her money.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as
know.
she sits down and breaks that chair or whatever they have to, whatever crane they use to put her in there, it's
Mhm.
ridiculous. But I feel much more optimistic. I'm almost like I'm waiting for. I've been so beat up these last few years. I'm almost like wondering what could go wrong. I'm looking for what's going to go wrong, and I should be celebrating the wins. I should not be, because we have some people, just to name a couple, our Whitney Webbs or our James Corbett's or your Greg Reese's that are full on still black pilled, and it's okay to celebrate the wins. It's okay to be a skeptic without being a cynic. I mean, I still have reservations about Musk. I still, I actually do have questions about the data that he's getting, but
Hail radioactive.
hail, my friend. But on balance, given what he's already found, and what he's been tweeting or what his account has been tweeting, I'm on board with that right now. So for now, I support him. But I don't see a reason to be blackpilled and be attacking Donald Trump. I mean, you can attack certain things, like a lot of people are really critical about him on Israel. But I mean, celebrate the wins. These are some big wins
Right.
here.
I'll give Musk credit for this, okay? Because I'm not entirely Team Elon myself, but I will say this. I've been retweeting a lot of the stuff he's been finding and things like that. So I've retweeted some of his tweets and things of that nature. At the end of the day, the guy's still a big tech billionaire, and you never know what the true motives are with those guys. But that said, the guy is taking his own time out. He could be running any one of 3 companies right now and saying, I'm not getting involved in all that. The guy's using his personal time, not taking a salary, and sitting there in earnest doing this job to the fullest extent. So I will give him credit where it's due on this Doge endeavor and the audit, just for seeing it through. And by the way, he's not putting just shit people on it. I mean, he's putting like computer whizzes on this stuff that are going through and really combing through and finding even the most well hidden shit. So,
Hail big balls.
I'll give him props. You got to give him props on that, because he didn't have to do that. So
yeah, boy, I'm just waiting for DOD to get audited, and if Trump actually is able to get Powell out and put Ron Paul as the head of the Fed, holy shit!
Well, the Fed will be closed within a week if they do that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're gonna find out all that stuff.
They'll find out all the shit and then shut it the fuck down. And then people said earlier before you got here, well, what does that do? Well, I'll tell you what it does. That makes way, and this is where I said that Trump and Elon are going to be at a little bit of cross purposes. Elon might be more of a CBDC guy. Trump is more of a gold-backed currency guy. And I think in the end, we're going to get a gold-backed currency.
Oh. Well, here's another genius of it is that now that Trump has established the Sovereign Wealth Fund, if we close the Fed down, all of that could go into the Sovereign Wealth Fund.
This is true. There's that too. It does provide options.
Yeah.
Hail
So
Death Angel Shadow, man. Good to see you, buddy.
She's got big balls. He's got
Yep.
big balls. Who's got the biggest balls
Dude,
of
to
them
see
all?
those news clips and just see them talking about somebody's username, talking about somebody named Big Balls, I was just sitting there in hysterics watching those the whole time.
You know what? That is the first poll, genital-related poll, that Michelle Obama has lost that I've done. Big Balls actually won having bigger balls than Michelle Obama. I was shocked.
Yep. Oh, man. I'll tell you, brother, Radioactive as a comment. He says, let's hope they close the Fed down and restore the U.S. Treasury to its rightful place as printer of U.S. dollars.
Well, yeah, exactly. Hey, Dwayne, good to see you too, my friend. Well, the Constitution says that Congress shall make no, has to coin money. But a dollar, is a bill of credit. It's emitting a bill of credit. So that's one of the things that JFK was doing, and that was kind of the original. That was the birth of the greenback. Was that I believe the Treasury Secretary at the time said, "Why don't you just, instead of selling bonds, just emit a bill of credit and make your own money?" That was what they did. Maybe I got that.
Yeah, there's going to be some real interesting things come along as this Doge audit continues and the confirmations this week. This is going to be an eventful week, just as much as the other weeks have been. This is going to be a very eventful week, folks. So, we're not done having live streams talking about stuff, because I guarantee you, if West does a whatever Wednesday, there's going to be stuff breaking by Wednesday. So you just wait.
Yes, indeed.
Parrot Head says, whose dong is bigger? Big Mikey Obama or Drew? No, I got to go with me.
You would beat Big Mike in a sword fight?
Yeah, I might. Radioactive
Club
says the greenback was the Lincoln U.S. dollar. The silver certificate was the Kennedy U.S. dollar. And we know what happened to them and why. Correct. It's funny, somewhere Radioactive, I got to look. It's in my storage right now, but I have a U.S. Silver certificate. I have to show that off one of these times.
Yeah, the seal is a little different. It's blue instead of green, if I recall.
Yeah, earlier, Wes, I also covered Trump doing the executive order doing away with pennies. And Rita is telling Death Angels something related to that. I think there will be a lot of penny collectors now. Your saved pennies value just went up. Yeah, well, and that's true, but there's a lot of them still rolling around in circulation, so you won't see any appreciable value on those for about at least a couple years out of circulation.
I think you're right. Every time I come across a pre-1981 penny, I try to keep them. because that's real copper. The new pennies after 1981 are not copper. And the ones we have now are like third world currency. Like, have you ever seen money from, I remember when I was in high school, somebody brought in, I think it might have been from Pakistan or somewhere, brought in their currency. And like the bills were super flimsy and the coins were really light. And now our bills, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the new bills are much thinner and chintzier feeling than the older bills. And the coins are like the third world money now. It's really embarrassing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, good. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I'm neutral on it. It's not something I'm passionate about. Yeah, go ahead and do away with the penny. Go for it.
I mean, you know, I understand his logic on it, because, you know, the idea of it is perfect. It costs 2 to 3 cents to make 1 cent. You know, that should change. So I get it.
I think we've entered. I was looking at this the other day, and I think the last time this happened was during the Great Recession. But I think the average car on the road now, most people are holding on to their cars for like 10, 11 years now. I think we're back to that. Have you looked at how much cars cost now, even used cars? I can't believe it.
Well, yeah, and you know, there's got to be a tipping point in the market. I I do I do believe that eventually cars are going to come back down to affordable. I really do think that.
Well, that's good because I don't know. I mean, the truck is running well, I guess.
Well, you know, I wanted to, by the way, share something. You know, I know I mentioned our Indian friends. You know, I'm going to go ahead and share this for our Indian friends out there. You know, this is from me to you guys. I just want to share this for any of our Indian friends out there really fast. It's off topic, but this is great.
Fucking, you are fucking, you bloody bastard, bitch, fuck you, bloody, fucking mother, bloody, fuck, bitch, you, bloody, fuck you fucking bloody bastard, benchwood, bloody, you blunder, no, but why, bloody, no, why, bloody, fucking, accident, then what you wanna, why you fuck me, I fuck you, bloody bastard, fucking running like lady, eh? Bloody. What the fuck, man? Fucking now shout at me, innit? Okay. Why are you shouting at me? Because I am going to the work. If you don't do, you do the other places. Why are you shouting? Because of this, you are doing. Hello? I don't know. You are doing like this. I think you are going to accident. No, shouting at me, no good, man. Me no shout at you. But the thing is that, what you think if you do like this one, you are going at work and somebody else. But that like one, this. If you running like that one, you're gonna fucking fall, innit? But hurting yourself. But yeah, because of this, I saved myself. That one very icy road, man. Okay, have a nice day. Bye bye.
Well, that was nice. At least it ended on a high note.
Yeah, the have a nice day at the end. That always kills me. I've seen that clip a few times. The have a nice day at the end always kills me. Oh God.
That would be my guess, Death Angel's Shadow.
Radioactive was cracking up. Oh, Jesus. I think we're going to have a period of time that may be rough financially for a bit, but it'll work out eventually, unlike Biden's transitional idea. Yes, I do believe that. as well. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you folks. The tariffs are going to have a bit of a inflationary effect for a certain period of time. But I do think that things will level out. I don't know. Go ahead, Wes.
I actually disagree, and you saw it when he put the tariffs on Canada. And this is another one of those brilliant out of the box things with Trump, is that when he put the tariffs on Canada and Mexico, their currencies fell and the dollar got stronger. And what that does is it makes imports cheaper when the dollar gets stronger. So even with the tariffs on the imports with those weaker currencies, it actually wouldn't have made much difference to us, and we would have made money off of it. But
No.
you know, it had that
Yeah.
effect. It is nice having a businessman as a president. Let me tell you that, especially this businessman, because he had to really scrap. He was not part of the elite of the elite. In fact, they snubbed their nose at Donald Trump in Manhattan. Yeah, I'm guessing they don't speak the same Indian dialect, though. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was yeah, that's just a great clip, man. I'm sorry, like the whole thing at the end where they have a nice day. Oh God, that great. That was just great. So there's our laugh for the day, folks. But yeah, Wes, God, we are in for a crazy week, as it may be.
Yep, we sure are. Boy, more winning, please. Oh, by the way, they changed. It's now official on Google Maps, the Gulf of America. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Let's pull that up just so people can see.
Yeah, go ahead and I'll share it.
Oh, good. There's the whatever cast on there. So here we are. It is official. I thought and if you read the Art of the Deal, this stuff will all make sense. People are like, huh? But he talks about being outrageous and sometimes doing things that make people go, huh?
Oh, by the way, folks, watching the clip of the Indian guys yelling, you watched that. It definitely added the word "blastard" to my vocabulary. Blastard, not bastard.
There it is, Gulf of America.
Gulf of America.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Yeah, there you go. Wait. Come on, man. I want that to be the same size. It keeps shrinking Gulf of America. That is what it says.
Absolutely radioactive. The change the Gulf of America was to make sure that they can get around the drilling order. Absolutely. That was brilliant.
Oh, if that's what that was for, then that makes it even smarter than I thought.
Yeah, it was. It's exactly
Really?
what it was for. Yeah. Hail Tobat, what's up?
Hail, my friend. Yeah, just to address Rita, yeah, that's what I was. Yes, the dollar strengthening, it happened almost immediately. If you look at them when he raised the tariffs, and when the dollar gets stronger, that makes our exports more expensive, but the imports cheaper. And so actually because we don't really make anything, if you put a tariff on there and then you have a weaker currency, it doesn't matter. Everybody still wins. Everybody wins doing that.
Yep. You know, there's interesting that, by the way, the leaks for those ICE raids came from the FBI.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting that they knew that so quickly. So probably either have whistleblowers or somebody's being under surveillance and monitored.
Which, by the way, that brings me to my next topic. Chuck Schumer introduced a form for whistleblowers today to fill out if they want to, of course, bring to light any concerns about the current administration. But there's already people trolling, filling them out as whistleblowers that are just internet trolls, which is going to make it 10 times better.
Yeah. You know what's next on the list, and that is election integrity is going to come up fairly soon. I mean, I can see why you're not doing it now when you're not as close to the election, because maybe you want to catch some people in the act. But it's coming. I'm sure. I bet you once Cash gets in there, he's going to be going after those people and getting them to roll.
Yep. Tom Homan confirms DOJ has seemingly identified those who leaked the details of ICE raids, and they indeed originated from the FBI. Homan says, quote, they will lose their job, their pension, and they're going to go to jail.
Good. Get them. Yeah, the FBI needs a really deep house cleaning. I mean, first, you know what? Fuck it. Go do away with them. You don't even need an FBI anymore. Look what happened.
You know, do you feel like we took all of the weapons away in one fell swoop that the radical left, that the Democrats, period, that they had in their toolbox? I feel like we just took them all away.
We're taking them away. I mean, as soon as he signed that order to freeze the funding, that took it away. And you could see. I mean, you could see the change immediately. God, can you imagine if Kamala would have gotten in? I would have been worried about going to jail if Kamala had gotten in.
Oh, there's no question we'd have been in World War III. We'd have been in World War III sooner than later, actually. It was bad.
They were really banking on getting away with taking Trump out. And now it's coming out that it looks like Josh Shapiro ordered the stand down in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
So it looks like they
Who ordered the code red?
Yep. Where the drugs are going? Oh wait, wrong movie.
Oh man, yeah, I know. It's interesting times that we live in. It really is.
Yeah, I don't know how that would go down, arresting a sitting governor, but I'm guessing we're probably going to find out. Who do you think's going to be first there? Katie Hobbs or Josh Shapiro or Gavin Newsom?
I would say, based on all the the election issues, Katie Hobbs would be first on the block.
Yeah.
Whitmer ought to be next.
Yeah, Whitmer is another one. Yeah, we're going to find out a whole bunch more about that FBI stuff, that fake kidnapping plot, a bunch more.
Yeah. One of the things flying under the radar before we go, Wes, is we had another aviation incident today. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, Vince Neil from Motley Crue is mixed up in this.
What?
Yeah. Like, if you just look up plane crash, you'll see the latest one. Or just put plane crash Vince Neil. Happened today. Crazy enough.
There's a funny Vince Neil video out there of him live. I think I played it before. Yeah, this guy, I'm surprised those guys are still alive after all that.
Breaking, singer Vince Neil's plane hit Vince Vaughn's parked plane today at Scottsdale Airport in Arizona. 1 dead, 1 trapped, 3 hospitalized.
Thank you, Radioactive, for the $50 super sticker. Learjet
aircraft 35A plane collision, Scottsdale Airport. Yep. A Learjet at 2:39 p.m. local time, a Learjet aircraft model 35A owned by Vince Neil was attempting to land at Scottsdale Airport. For reasons unknown at this time, the plane veered from the runway, causing it to collide with another parked plane. On board Mr. Neil's plane were 2 pilots and 2 passengers. Mr. Neil was not on the plane. More specific details regarding the collision are not available, as this is a rapidly evolving situation and there is an ongoing investigation. Mr. Neil's thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved, and he is grateful for the critical aid of all first responders assisting today. And that's, I'm assuming, the statement from his lawyers.
Yeah, the Quartering rushed out a clickbaity video of that situation I saw.
Yeah.
Awesome One's got a good point there. Awesome One says, my dad, in aviation, says they never cared about plane crashes until now, as many happen daily, just like car crashes. Yep. They want to say that Trump is made things less safe for firing the DEI people.
Yep. Thank you, Radioactive, again, as Wes said, for the super sticker. We appreciate it. Appreciate you, man. You know, you guys are the best chat on YouTube, as Wes always says. Thank you for supporting our channels and what we do. Man, you know, I got to really give you guys credit because I've had especially a trying past couple months, and recently, you know, getting back into broadcasting, not only with the Give Send Go, but with the channel. You guys have just stepped up and clutched. There's been some people reached out and helped, and you know, that's really sort of helped improve the situation. I'm almost out of the woods to where I'll be back to where I can get stable. So I am so very grateful. So is the missus. We really do appreciate you guys. You are the best supporters that we could have. Really are.
Absolutely.
Awesome One says Port Liberty. Did you hear Fort Bragg was renamed to Port Liberty? Its name restored to Fort Bragg. Yeah, it's
Yep.
You know, all that stuff's going away. All that stuff's going away under Hegseth, Trump. It's all going away. All the woke military, all that stuff is going away, which is good. Because my dad would have turned over in his grave if he saw what the state of the military is. Absolutely. Yeah, Liberty Bibbity. Yeah, I've seen that commercial.
I never understood that name change or why they did that.
I don't think they fired any of the DI people yet, but I have a sneaky suspicion they're trying to sabotage things. Well, you've got that judge that's involved in the buyout thing, and we'll see where that goes. And there's going to be a whole lot more, as Wes mentioned earlier, like Soros, Obama judges, people like that, getting involved, trying to make sure that they can throw a wrench in it. So,
well, they're really stupid by delaying that, because that's given people a chance to think about it. Now more of them will probably take the buyout. So thanks.
yep. Keep it moving. If you want to the bots throwing up my stuff, guys. If anybody wants, like, these are ways to help. Obviously, you can super chat the channel like normal. We've got Cash App right here. That's the $ Patriot Journalist 74. Also, we've got the Stream Elements tip link right there, and the pinned comment, the Give Send Go, that goes to the fund to continue to get on our feet, which we are a little ways away from, but close.
Did you get that YouTube creator survey?
I did not.
Oh. I got it, and I roasted those guys.
Oh, I'm so glad you did, Wes. Our
They're not
local
gonna
barista.
listen, but sure.
Awesome One says our local barista left his job as a manager for a decade to join officer training school for the Navy yesterday. Well, good on him. Listen, the recruitment's up. The armed forces is in good hands. I do feel under Hegseth. I've been impressed with them so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you have to do. You have to, and that's what Trump's known for doing, is pulling people out of, the orthodoxy upstarts and giving them a shot, and they take their job seriously when they do that, when they're not somebody that was expected to be placed in that position. And
yeah,
they perform better.
I'm also impressed with Sean Duffy handling everything the way he's had to. He's done a good job. He makes he makes Pete Buttigieg look like a joke, although Pete Buttigieg made himself look like a joke, but Sean Duffy just, completely outclasses the guy. Rita says, I saw something that Alex Soros and Josh Shapiro had something to do with the attempted assassination in PA. Yep. We've seen that too, Rita. Absolutely. Braxton Bragg was an American Army officer in 2 wars, including the Mexican-American War, then later was a Confederate Army general, as many were back then. Yeah. Well, Wes, I've taken it a little longer than I even thought I would. We've gone now close to 2 hours. I'm glad you were able to join in. I want you to tell these folks about what you got going on. Make sure you check out Wes on Rumble. Take it away, my friend.
Okay, well, as you know, I'm writing my animated series, Conspiracy Chronicles, which we may turn into a comic book first, depending on how things go. Very close to being done writing it. So that's that. If you catch me on Patreon, you can watch me write Conspiracy Chronicles. You can find me on Rumble and Twitter X. I've basically been banned from YouTube. I'm using the Conspiracy account to chat with you right now, which is something that I haven't been streaming on as regularly as I normally do. So I'll post. I don't think I've been knighted as a mod yet, so I don't know if I can post it. You can find me on Rumble at whatevercast, and then you can find me on Twitter X at x.com/whateverwebcast. Hope to see you there. Subscribe to Supreme Heretic.
I'm trying to see if I can get you. All right. See if you got a wrench now. I think I finally got you there.
Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm wrenched. Yay.
All right. Very good.
Who should I
Very
time out
good.
first? Yes. So there I am on Rumble, and let's do my Twitter X now.
That's right, Rita. Josh Shapiro could have been the vice president. Thank God he wasn't. Oh.
Yeah,
all right, folks.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. It's all, folks.
Again, if you want to help the channel, just click on the Stream Elements tip link. It always goes straight to the PayPal. And if you want to do the Cash App, it's $ Patriot Journalist 74. I hope to see you guys soon. I did this United Resistance tonight because I have to work tomorrow. So, you know, what you got to do what you got to do. But I'm glad that I got a resistance in for the week. And Wes, thank you again for late co-hosting with me.
Absolutely. It was great being here. I mean, this is a nice return to form. I loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see you guys again soon. I'll probably see you Sunday. I wasn't able to do one yesterday night, but probably see you this coming Sunday for a Midnight Prism, and we'll go from there. Speaking of, just to give you a tease for Midnight Prism, and I'll bring Wes in on this one, keep an eye on Anna Paulina Luna's account. There may be some stuff, just a rumor mill turning around about UFOs coming out tomorrow, and it may be involving her exposing some government things.
Wait, I should get spooky light going here. Hang on. Let me get spooky light. Come on, man. Activate. Yeah, there we go.
So, yeah, make sure that you guys check it out. Keep an eye on that account on Twitter. All right, folks, we will see you. Take care.
See ya.